Once you are convinced you are a victim, it is almost impossible to give that fantasy up. It is almost impossible to give up the fantasy of victimhood once it has taken root. Do you know why that is? The reason that is because once you believe you are a victim, you stop trying. And then, if it turns out you were mistaken about being a victim, that you could have achieved what you wanted, what you dreamt of all along, if you later turn out to be mistaken, then you have worse than wasted your life. The one opportunity, YOLO, baby, the one chance you have to live, you pissed away in an orgy of self-pity and injected victimhood from your future enslavers. Victimhood is such a quicksand, is such a sticky trap that all who use it are genuine parasites on the vulnerability of people in need. Everybody who is a coward wishes to believe in their victimization. Everybody who is a failure wishes to believe in their victimization. Everybody who is an abuser because they've believed in their victimization. Abuse is simply the flip side of imaginary victimization. Everybody who fucks up wants to pretend it's not their fault. It's the system. What chance do I have? The system is so oppressive. Won't let me get ahead. And the more they fail, and the more failures like that you breed in any community, I don't care where it is, what gender it is, what race it is, what culture it is, the more failures you breed because you have infested them with the brain maggots of victimization, the more losers and failures you breed, the more those losers and failures are going to turn around to all the kids and say, you can't get ahead. I tried, you can't get ahead. System, the man, the whites, the patriarchy, they're going to get you down. Grind you down. You got a chance. Kids are like, oh man, well, that sucks. Man, I can't get ahead. There's apparently a man and a system and a patriarchy and white people. We can't get ahead. Oh God. Well, if we can't get ahead, what the hell is the point of even trying? Why bother? Oh, don't you just hate those self-fulfilling prophecies? If you can convince people that they're victims and freedom is their enemy, then they lose all of the habits and dedication and integrity and hardworking capacities that actually would have changed their lives. When people believe that there is a system called freedom that oppresses them, they have a metaphysical worldview called injustice. In liberty, there is injustice. And then whoever makes it over that, whoever cracks and penetrates that vision, that fantasy of victimization, becomes an apostate, becomes a heretic to the fantasy of victimization. And you have the great challenge of explaining to yourself and to others why, if there's this terrible system that keeps you all down, how that person and 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 that person made it out. They become your enemy. You must tear them down. Now the victimization is not top down, but bottom up. Bottom up. Instead of the fantasy that there's a group pushing another person down. The reality is, if people believe that fantasy, oh, there is oppression, but it's bottom up. It's bottom up. It's if you make it out, you are shattering the myth of victimization, so I better pull you back down. Is this how you're going to break oppression? By pulling down whoever is trying to get out to maintain your own fantasy of impossibility? Do you know where I should be statistically? beaten up child of a single mother, raised in a welfare ghetto. Where should I be statistically? Dead or in jail? And I know some people who are from that neck of the woods from when I was a child. Do not let the failure of others be the noose around your future. Fuck statistics. Fuck the trends. Will your life. Inevitability is for raindrops. Human beings have will and choice, and the capacity to project yourself beyond the circumstances of the moment, and shoot your hopes like a grappling hook to a higher plane and pull yourself up muscle by muscle. Other people will try to sell you on the inevitability of failure and the universality of injustice and the prevalence of the grinding down gears of the privileged and the powerful. Do not listen to them for a moment. They are viruses of failure. They are viruses attempting to justify their own pathetic non-entity non-existences by having you not succeed. They are vampires. They have no reflection. They live in the dark, and they live in a coffin. Now, all the people who said to me, you can't. It's ridiculous. Not going to happen. I didn't listen to them. I have the life that I have, which I love. They have the lives they have, which they hate. And there are crossroads in life, and they are diminishing crossroads. They do not last forever. I'm telling you, my friends, the crossroads in life do not last forever. They diminish, they diminish, they diminish, and eventually there will be no more. And there are all the people in the world who will say to you, you don't have a choice. And then there are people who, in many ways, lay down their comfort and peace of mind to shoot up the flares from their very hearts in that good old Katy Perry style way. They shoot up the flares from their very heart to light up for you the existence of choice in a world that so often seeks to shroud every choice, every fork in the road in darkness. And to pretend that you are not a being of a self-made soul and a self-made future and a self-made world and a self-made love and a self-made life, self-made career. They want to tell you, oh, you're just a train track. You're just a train on a train track. You're just water bouncing down a cliff. We don't know where you're going to land, but we know it ain't your choice. No choice. Nihilism, determinism, victimization. All the inevitabilities of hiding from you the reality of choice in your life. Well, if you think you're on a train track, you are. If you think you're not on a train track, you're not. And who you let whisper into your ears about the prevalence and possibility of choice in your life is how your future is going to be. We become the words we listen to. We become the language that inhabits us. We become the conversations we allow ourselves to have. And we never become the conversations we deny ourselves from having. Victimization remains a choice. It will not remain a choice forever. And the more people who believe they're victims, the more they will make victims of us all. True victims of us all. Totalitarian victims of us all. But there is still choice. And if you choose a better life than those who came before you, you will see the reality of human evil. Many times, not always, many times. Choose a better life and see who loves you for it. Choose to overcome statistics and see who loves you for it. Choose to get the life of your dreams and see who loves you for it and see who hates you for it. Because if you can achieve the escape from the imaginary victim prison, if it turns out there's no prison, no walls, it's all just a holograph of susceptibility to propaganda. If you can walk out of that prison, hey, no lock on the door. You know you could have left at any time. Say that to a guy who's been in there for 40 years. What's he going to say? Thanks. No. No, he's not likely to say that. And there's nothing wrong with failure, don't get me wrong. Failure is essential. You can have a whole lifetime of failure, and you can be incredibly valuable to society by telling people how and why you failed and how and why you could have done it better. Great. It's not that failure is the problem. It's the people who externalize failure into a system. The system got me. The man. Whitey. Men. Come on. Forget all of that. Forget all of the illusionary limits on who it is you can become. Forget all of the stories that people tell you about what you can and can't do. Heroism, magnificence, courage, virtue, striding the world stage like a colossus, these are choices. There's no stone of great pianing, being a great pianist. You just keep practicing. And you keep practicing because you simply refuse to bow to statistics. You refuse to bow to the inevitability of failure that is constantly whispered into your ear by the Iagos of failure who would love nothing more than to reinforce their delusions of an obstructing system by having you bump up against their imaginations and fall flat on your ass. Move forward into your future, into the life you want, as if there are no limits. Because if you don't believe in them, that is an automatic repellent to the vampires who would whisper the limits are everywhere and omnipresent, and that limits and victimization are the physics of our social universe. If you act as if there are no limits, people with limits will flee your very existence because it challenges and denies the limits they have put on themselves, so they avoid the necessity of courage and growth and virtue in this world. Get to your goddamn future, people! There's nothing in your way. There's nothing in your way except the holograms of other people's failures. May it look real. It's rendered quite well. And there's endless amounts of art and theology and theories and class systems, all racism, all of this stuff is put there. And it feels like you're running full tilt boogie into a thick forest, but there's nothing there. I'm telling you, there's nothing there. That forest is a phantasm. That wall is an illusion. And you will yourself to run through it. And there's nothing on the other side except everything you want.